Hello there, Quicksilver Slash here with a replay from World of Warships today. I'm driving my Tier 9 American destroyer, the Fletcher, on Sea of Fortune on Domination mode. So right off the start, I can see that a fair number of DDs in this battle, so I'm expecting to run into another destroyer as I head towards sea here, trying to get an early cap. I find when you're driving destroyers, something that's always important to consider and just really know before going into it is what are the numbers. Like, there are a lot of times just with matchmaking where you'll end up in a match where you have far superior destroyer numbers or inferior, and because of the usually aggressive playstyle, particularly in domination, trying to get those caps early, you know, if you have the advantage, particularly if it's say 3 versus 2, you know one of the caps can't be covered by one of their destroyers. It's a good opportunity for your team to get some early points. But in a game like this with 4-on-4, you can pretty much be guaranteed that every single cap is going to have someone going for it. So you need to play a little cautious, keep in mind where you're going to go, how you're going to get out of a situation if there's torpedoes coming your way, particularly if it's high-tier American, Japanese destroyer with 10 plus kilometers that you can get out of the torps. But so far, on my way to sea, I haven't seen anyone, and that's until I spot that Tirpitz, followed by a Des Moines. And suddenly my prospects aren't looking so good. I go hard over with the intention of avoiding the cap. If I hit that circle, they know I'm here. They know torpedoes are on their way. I just managed to duck it, and I put some torps in the water at that Des Moines and start trying to get out of the way. Unfortunately, as you can see, I just got spotted by radar, so the Des Moines obviously was suspecting there would be a destroyer this way, and he fired it up. So I've got about 30 seconds here where I'm potentially not safe from anything, so just trying to get out of the way is my only goal. But I do pop the smoke because, having fired, the second that radar runs up, I need to be disappeared. Particularly against something as deadly as that Des Moines. And you can see there, I dodged some torpedoes a little by luck because I kept turning, which means, and as you can see by that, dead enemy destroyer, they didn't actually go for the circle. They were going around, probably trying to catch me unaware, which they very well did. I was lucky my teammates were covering my back. So far I haven't had too much luck. I've done about 5,000 damage, didn't get the cap, lost 7,000 of my own hit points. That was not a good trade for me. And you can see our Iowa here is just bow in, trying to tank and put out damage. And unfortunately, I can't do much to help. My detection is just over 10k after firing, and they're all inside that range. So I need to start opening. Now, looking at where that Baltimore was aiming, I start firing to try to put some support in for my Iowa. So otherwise, he's just going to get picked apart by the sheer amount of gunfire coming his way. And at this point, I've managed to get back on the other side of my smoke screen, so there's no longer a risk of me being detected for about another 15 seconds until that smoke starts to run out, or a plane flies overhead. But I continue to just open, I keep the island between me and the majority of the enemy team, and just try to work down this Baltimore. And an enemy gearing just temporarily came into view. He fired a couple shells at me and then disappeared. Looks like he popped his own smoke over there. And hoping I can catch that Tirpitz unaware, I fire a couple torpedoes around the corner. But he's smarter than that. He's already in a turn and turning away, so none of those are going to hit. And our Iowa at this point's already lost. So about the best thing I can try to do right now is just shadow this Tirpitz, keep putting torps his direction. Once his range opens up a little more and I feel safe to open fire, put damage into him, hope to get those fires. Now one thing I should mention right now, just because torpedoes don't hit someone doesn't mean they're not useful. You can use torpedoes all the time to steer enemy ships and force them to turn broadside onto your teammates. This wasn't the case here, but just seeing the way he turned reminded me of that. And I ended up getting one lucky torpedo right into his butt. A little more attention from him, he probably could have avoided that one. But I was lucky, not going to complain about the free 12,000 damage. And at the range I'm at now, I can fire without worrying about getting detected. So I'm just trying to put as much fire his direction and hope for a fire after the flooding I put on them. And you can tell there's something wrong with the replay there because he is dancing around. But as he shakes his butt around that corner, you can see I did get a fire on him, and that one's going to burn for its duration. That Hipper just came into my detection range, so I cease firing for a bit, try to open up again. And once I'm outside of that stealth fire range, I'm going to resume fire. And that's where you can have a huge impact, particularly in these American destroyers. If you've got a captain running the Tier 5 concealment and the concealment module, you really bump that detection down. As you can see here from the stats on the right, my detectability range is 5.8 kilometers not firing. After I've fired my main battery, it only goes up to 9.6. So right now I'm really missing an opportunity here to not firing at that Hipper. He's just outside that detection range, so bit of a mistake, but considering he just turned in, maybe it wasn't. You can't second guess everything. And right here I was just hopping onto the view of my other torpedoes to try to see if I was going to get one into him, but you can see he ducked it, and with that it probably means the second set's going to miss him as well. So you can see by the scores, our team's down by 300 points almost. We're only down one ship, but we just don't control the map right now. The entire enemy team is grouped up at B, preventing us from pushing in. I can't get up to C to cap it because of this Hipper patrolling back and forth. So right now, the only real option is to try to put some damage in, hope we can get a couple kills to pull that score back in line, and then get the caps a little later on. And looking at that Hipper dancing around too, there must be something bugged about this replay and its upload or its refresh rate on the enemy ships. And unfortunately, until Wargaming does something to really fully implement the replay function in World of Warships, it's just going to be par for the course. Some replays turn out better than the others, and you don't really know until you've worked through the fire. So sitting right at the edge of my gun range, firing at this rune, I'm completely safe from detection, and I'm able to just start laying damage into him. I get a fire early, which he's letting burn. I think he's suspecting that he's going to get another one, which, there it goes, but I don't know what caused him to really drive over and run aground. You can see I got a second fire and right away put that out, which means at this point, if I can relight any fires on him, I'm going to start really doing some long-term sustained damage. You can see about each full volley that hits them, I do 1,000 to 1,500 damage. And with these shells firing every 3 seconds, it really starts to add up quickly. You can see it was at 70,000, and just watch my damage counter climb. Have that second, or lit another fire on him. It was the third one, but he's only got one burning on him right now for me. And I've already worked up to 39 consecutive shots before I started missing. It's important to note right now, I do not use the Demolition Expert Tier 4 Captain skill. This is just the normal fire chance on this ship, and the insane rate of fire and number of shells you can put on target. And look at that, almost over 30,000 damage to that rune. Just gunfire only, staying out of detection the entire time. A properly played American DD, when you're given the chance to stay at range and not being hunted down, you can lay massive damage into targets that just can't do anything to stop it. When there's aircraft carriers in a game, CV captains, if you're not actively engaging something, need to be trying to search out these destroyers for your allies, because otherwise they can really rip you apart. So you saw just a second ago, I kind of luck chucked some torpedoes into A. I saw that gearing going in. He was spotted for a second. So I fired a couple spreads off, hoping for a lucky hit. Meanwhile, I'm heading towards B with the intention of trying to even up the scores. We currently have a 5-on-4 lead, and they're about to take all the caps. So unless we get some caps here, nothing's going to happen. And look at that. Got a torpedo in, killed that gearing, which you'll see he starts to get a little pissy in chat about. Wasn't too impressed that I got that, but you know, saw him going into cap. Do a wide spread. With this ship, I can cover 60-70% of that cap with torpedoes. And their heartbreak strikes. Detonation from that hipper, ending my game with 106,000 damage, 2 kills, arsonist devastating strike, and I detonated. So unfortunately, that is it for me. And we go on to lose this game. That enemy hipper over there wipes out our gearing shortly after this and ends up chasing down the Fletcher too, and our team just couldn't overcome that early point deficit, which speaks to the importance of getting an early lead. It forces the other team to come to you. And I had to make a play at one of those caps, and that hipper was waiting for me. So I hope you enjoyed this game, saw the kind of amazing damage that these guns can do, and learned the importance of getting caps early, which is something our team just didn't do. I'm going to have another World of Warships replay for you a little later today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'd appreciate the thumbs up.